Franklin Roosevelt was the 32nd President of the United States, and he served from March 4, 1933 to April 12, 1945. Franklin Roosevelt was best known for the fact that he served not 2, but 3 terms. Roosevelt tackled the issue of the Great Depression head-on and built the New Deal coalition. One highlight in Roosevelt's term was the New Deal. The threat of judicial nullification hung over every New Deal measure that was proposed. The Supreme Court viewed the New Deal in a very negative way because it was composed of Republicans. The Supreme Court spent Roosevelt's historic 100 days trying to rule all of the New Deal proposals unconstitutional, such as striking down the NRA and the AAA. Yet, standing behind Roosevelt were the New Dealers. The New Dealers were mostly composed of young men with numbers approximating 200 to 300. These men were mostly Harvard Law graduates and tried to promote the government, yet none of them held office. According to them, the government's role was to promote consumption rather than directly stimulating investment. Moving forward to 1934, when a white Southern mob had grabbed 2 handcuffed black men from the town sheriff and proceeded to mutilate and demolish their bodies, the government was forced to step in. Up until that point, a lot of black lives had been lost to lynching. Once this was realized, the House voted on an anti-lynching bill. This infuriated and scared Southerners because they feared Reconstruction and the demolition of white supremacy. Roosevelt did not support the anti-lynching bill, not because he didn't want to, but because of his obligations to his voters and to his party. It was extremely hard for him having that much power and not being able to do anything with it because Congress was against him. To add to Roosevelt's problem, later in his term in 1937, America experienced another economic recession. Within weeks, stocks plunged back, losing 1/3 of their value, and corporations' profits plunged by 80%. By the end of that year, approximately 2 million workers had received layoff notice. Many asked, why did this recession hit, and whose fault was it? A popular answer was simply the familiar rhythms of business cycle, rather than anyone's fault in specific. Roosevelt did not like this answer to the problem, and he believed that the recession was happening due to a political conspiracy against him, calling it a capital strike designed to dislodge him from office and destroy the New Deal. Connecting back to modern day, the recession of 1937 is seen best in 2007, when there was again a 2-year recession in America. However, this recession could be blamed on the burst of an $8 trillion house bubble. When this happened almost the same way as in the Great Depression and recession, consumer spending took a quick halt, which paired with the other devastation led to the collapse in business investments. These events mirrored the path of the 1937 8.4 million jobs lost, making this the most dramatic unemployment contraction since the Great Depression. However, during 1937 recession, it took about 4 years to rebuild. Yet in 2007 recession, 16 months later, there were still 5.4% fewer jobs. Overall, Roosevelt had one of the hardest presidential terms in U.S. history, and his actions made a huge impact on the future of the American economy and government.